Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to use unit testing in Android Studio. So before we start, if you want to get some detail about unit testing, please check my previous video. What is unit testing, why we use unit testing and types of testing. So as I mentioned earlier, unit testing that is based on JVM, it runs on JVM, so it doesn't require any external emulator or any device to run our test. So it is based on JVM, so we don't require to connect any emulator or device. Then 70% code of our application is tested by unit testing, or also can say JVM. So we can say that here, when you create a new project or if you are working on any project, so just I'm closing here folder, so we can see in Java, we can see here test, Android test and com. So whatever we are writing code is com folder here. Then we have to write unit test. For that we use com test folder. And if you want to implement instrumented test that is based on emulator or external device, or we can say if you need to use context based testing, then we have to use this is Android test. So we can write here unit testing coding. So this is one example given, and if you want to run your testing, then you can simply click on whole class. You can click here, and also you can see the result of unit testing. It takes some time to run the application test. So we can see here the run test result, and we can say here test passed 1. So how many whatever we have written test here 4 or 5, it will show here test passed. If you have written test but it doesn't match with the functionality, then it will fail. So I will explain you later. Before we start testing to implement, we must have to use dependency for that. So I'm showing you dependency which is used for unit testing. So test implementation JUnit is used for unit testing in Android test implementation, and this is truth library which makes our code more readable. So let me give you some demo application for if you want to take some inputs from user like a username, password, or any registration detail, and you want to give some validation on that detail, that it must be email should be matched or password should be this much length, or whatever you want to give the validation on the given data, then you can also test that function. So I am writing here a simple application which takes student's name and age, and if student age is greater than 18, then it will allow some functionality or it will return true, otherwise it will return false. And based on that we will write one test. So what I'm going to do here, we have main activity. I'm not going to implement any user interface for that application. Suppose you have a main activity, you have written user interface code, and you are giving some validation on that, all application is working, just you want to write your test about the validation. Then uh, let's see, for I'm creating for demo one class that having two variable. So my class name is student, and I'm creating data class, and it is having two variable, that is var name, which is type of string. Second one is var age, and that should be type of int. So here we are having two variables for student class. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create one class which will contain the function for validation. So as I'm containing here one object class, that is registration util, and it will contain one function that will check, or you can give any name for validation like check valid detail. So I'm giving here parameter that is student. Now we have to check, I'm giving one condition. If student age is greater than 18, then it will allow some functionality, or I can say will age is valid, then to some stuff I'm using. So just basically I'm currently just returning the true value. So return if student dot age is greater than 80, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So guess you have too many functions or too many functionality, too many validation on different fields, and you want to create a test. So what you have to do is, just here you can right click and generate, and you can see here test, or another option you can alter enter, and here the option is create a test. So here you have to use testing library. There are different library like a JUnit 3, JUnit 5, spoke. We have to use here JUnit 4. Then it will create our class name and post word, that is test. And here three methods are already shown, like set up before. If you want to initialize any parameter, that for that we have to use setup, tear down. We will use that later, but right now I'm going to make it blank, and we have to use this is test, that is used for unit testing. So it will run on JVM, so you have to click test folder. Okay, so we can see here page registration util test is generated. So now if you want to use any test, then you have to use test word, then followed by function name, that is whatever here our class function name, you can write down test for that. So here the test folder where our test is generated. So I am giving check validation detail. Whatever your argument passing to the function and it returning the value, you are writing test on that. So suppose I am giving true value, so correct detail returns true. So we have to write here test. So for that let me take the function for result. It is, and for that we are using the check validation. See, we have to use object registration util dot check valid, and we are passing here student. So right now we don't have any object, so I'm here creating any temporary variable that is student, and it's holding true value. Suppose I am giving Gayatri and its age is like 21. So we are passing here student, and we will check that it will return true or not. So for that we have to use assert that, assert, you can use any, but I am going to use here assert that. In assert that we are passing result which will return true or false. So is here assert that is JUnit. I am going to use truth library assert that function. So we have to import assert, and that it will simply allow us to check the condition is true or false. So you must be know that this is 21 age and it should return true for the value. So let's check. You can click on this button or this, so we can say this is right function. If you passing 21, then it is showing true value. So this is our first test is successfully run. Now if you want to test second, it is returning false value or not. So if you want to check that our validation is working perfectly or not, if you want to pass some wrong information, so I'm going to pass here incorrect detail and it's return false. So let's take here 21 instead of I'm taking 15. So now it shouldn't be true. So if you run this test, it will fail the test because the 51 should be false, it's not should be true. So our function will return false, it is not valid data, that's why. So we are just simply writing a test that our code is working perfectly or not. And I'm going to explain you what is name this is declaration. So for that you have to write first your function name. So we are going to test on check validate data, so write down the function name, then what you are going to pass through the function you can write here. So I have like a past correct detail, so I can say detail, and what it returns, what is expected return value you can mention here. So it's return true, and here we can check we passed incorrect detail, so it will return false. So in this case you can write as many as tests you want to write, and you can simply run on one simple click here. So we two test case are passed, you can check here. And one more thing I want to just explain you is that also you can use here like this. So this is my function name, so I am check valid detail and suppose I am passing incorrect values, return false. So you can also define your function like this. So this is all about unit test. You can write as many as tests you want to write, and you can run on simple one click. So this is easy. In more description about unit testing I will explain in my next video. Thank you guys for watching me. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you. Bye.